Hi there. In this video I'm going to be practicing some digital painting techniques. So I'm just sketching out the rough outline for the shape of the person that I'm going to be drawing, and this is as much of an exploration and a learning experience for me because this is my first time of doing something this way. So yeah, just banging out the rough outline, the rough sort of sketch of the person. And I'm basically just using a paused TV show as a reference. So really just kind of mapping out where the key elements are before I lay down the base layer. And the base layer is going to indicate to me where I can put down shadows and highlights and things. So I'm not going to talk too much in this video. It's more or less going to be just me explaining the brief stages as I go along and then leaving you guys in peace and quiet, really. We've got the eyes in. I'm not 100% convinced that I've got this eye in the right place, and I think the overhang, or the fleshy part above the eye but below the eyebrow, in the wrong place, so I'm just redrawing it. Just trying to add a little bit more flesh in there. That looks a little bit more realistic. And once I've got the kind of rough mapping of where everything's going to go, then I know where to put my shadows and highlights. And I can start making this look a little bit more like a face. I'm going to add some of the wrinkles. I'm not going to draw all of them because that would take way too long, but I'm going to add the ones that I kind of feel are important. Again, everything's just kind of speedily drawn. So now I'm just popping in the background color. I'm not overly happy with this peach color. I want to find more of a fleshy tone, so there we go. I've grabbed that now, and I'm just sort of filling in the areas that are going to be skin. And now that I've done that, I'm going to have to remove these white patchy areas as well. Gets rid of those, and then I can focus on adding in the things that I need to add in. That's those basically gone. I know this looks a bit rough, but I'll sort of tweak it and tidy it up as I get on. So at this point I've got my layer. I'm just attaching it, locking that down, locking the opacity, and then just going to start drawing in some of these shadows and highlights. So as you can see, I'm just working on shadows first, getting those. I'm basically identifying in the reference where the darkest parts of the image are and whether or not they're kind of harder shadows or soft, and I'm just drawing those in, and then I can fix anything that maybe I've gone too dark with afterwards when I start adding the highlights in. Now adding in some of the highlights in the brighter areas. The highlights in this image, because of the image is in a person in a snowy area, are a lot more subtle. It's very sort of washed out in that regard. It's very flat lighting, so I'm kind of adding a little bit of artistic license in areas where I feel like there needs to be a bit more lights, just to add a bit more contrast to the image, because the original is not very contrasty at all. And we're getting to the point now where realistically the sketch lines that I added are almost useless at this point because everything's been mapped out. But we're going to leave them in just for the time being, and then we can get rid of those once I've got a little bit further in. So I'm just using those highlights to bring out any areas that are maybe shiny or do just stand out, and add a little bit of emphasis on the wrinkles and the bumpy areas. And then it's just a case of kind of smoothing these things out before I start adding the fine detail. Using a bit of artistic license to add shadows and highlights where perhaps there aren't any in the original. Again, just to make it kind of pop a little bit more. So now that I've added the shadows and highlights for the most part, I'm now going to start working on the facial hair. This person has I wouldn't say it's a really, really thick beard, but this is quite a time-consuming thing because you have to kind of make it believable. So that means drawing in a lot of the hairs manually. And trying not to draw them all in one direction as well. I mean, hair is fairly uniform in the way that it grows, but not, you know, it's a scruffy beard, you know, it's not a, like he's just run a comb through or anything. So having to add a lot of hairs in there, and then obviously there's a little bit of nostril hair there as well. Just trying to keep it looking as natural as possible without it, you know, without taking too much time up. And adding some thicker bits in there just to make it look darker. And then I'm going to cheat a little bit here and just copy and paste, and then just kind of blend it with a little bit more. I'm actually going to cut out the bottom part of this anyway, but I still need to kind of make sure that I capture as much hair there as possible. And it's going to be the same with the eyebrows and the hair, the headwear that he's got on as well. Darkening up the top of that nostril where there's no light getting in, and then start basically adding some more of the fine details to the face. Basically, probably crack the eyebrows first since I'm in creating hair mood. Again, just trying to hit as many directions as possible for the hair, just to make it look more natural, without it looking too artificial. I'm going to add some lighter coloured hairs in there as well, just to make it look more normal. So some lighter colours in there. Getting eyelashes on the back eye. This is actually what that person's eyelashes look like in the paused image, which is kind of cool. And then we can start working on the front eye once I've tidied this bit up. So I'm just kind of capturing, once I've drawn the light reflection over the eye, a lot of this detail in the iris is going to be sort of hidden, but I'm just trying to make it look as realistic as possible. Going to capture the whites of the eyes now before I sort of darken these a little bit to make it look a bit more natural. I'm going to put in the details, the reflections of the light into the eyes, just to give it that realistic looking reflection, and then just add the shade around the corner of the eye to make it look more three-dimensional. Again, just drawing in the eyelashes now. That's kind of the last detail that I want to add to the eyes, so that I don't accidentally blend too much. And then I'm going to add some slightly lighter eyelashes on the top once I've done these smaller ones on the bottom. I'm just working on the corner of the eye, adding some of that pink colour in there to make it look more close to the original. And then I can start adding some more small details to the face. I'm going to add some more small wrinkles and kind of imperfections just to make it look a little bit more natural. They do look a little bit too much. Perhaps next time I do this I'll minimize them a little bit, but for this it's fine. So in terms of detail on the face, I'm fairly happy with where I'm at. So I'm just going to add a couple more tweaks, and then I'm going to start working on the hat that he's wearing. So for this headgear, I'm actually going to speed this up quite a bit because it is a very long and laborious process. But it's basically just adding, blending, adding, blending, and rinse and repeat really. So yeah, as you can see, I've drawn the outline. Now I'm just going to smash out some of these details, and then I blur every now and again just to make it look more realistic, and then keep adding the fine detail. But that's essentially it for this video. So I'm going to finish off doing this hat and show you the finished product at the end. But I'll see you in the next video. Okay guys, thanks very much. Bye bye.